Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to The Road to Worship. My name is Chase, and I'm super excited to have this conversation today. And thank you for joining me today. I'm going to sit down with Rob Rene today. He's a man who turned his hardest moments into a blessing for the world. A man so bold, he left his Fortune 500 life behind to begin his mission to call the medical system higher. Today, Rob is the founder of Exodus Strong, a faith based wellness company built on healing the body through natural means and integrating red light and frequency therapy, biblically based supplements, and a daily practice faith into one comprehensive approach to wellness. Rob's story today is one of identity, surrender, and rebuilding on a solid foundation that's faith. You can find his biblical and research backed methods at exodusstrong.com and save 30% on all bundles today. Ladies and gentlemen, a father, a husband, entrepreneur, podcast host, Utah trail runner, and world changer. Rob,
There you
welcome
go.
to the
I
show.
love it. I love it. Chase, that was a great intro. Thank you so
Oh, well,
much. I'm
thank
so
you.
excited to be here.
Thank you. Yeah, how are you doing today, man?
Yeah, I'm doing fantastic. It's an amazing day to be alive.
Good. It's good to have you here, man. I mean, we'll get into some of the things that you love sharing about with the world, but one of those things and kind of keeping yourself healthy is grounding. And I am married to my desk. I suck at like taking care of myself at times, and
Right. It's easy to do that.
it's so
Really easy
easy.
to
And
do that.
today, my dog came and walked in as I was kind of focused away, and I could tell she wanted to go outside, and her face told me I should probably do the same thing. So I went outside with her, and we
That's a
just
now
we
that's a
took the
good
shoes off
dog.
and grounded in the grass for 15 minutes, and man, I feel good. I
Yes,
feel
it's
so
so
good.
amazing. That grounding thing is funny because I love to tell the story because it's like my wife is always kind of the lead in like finding health things, and
Yeah,
she would do research on all these things, and she told me about grounding, and I'm like, give me a break, right? It's
yeah,
like
right.
my feet are sensitive. I don't like my feet to be out on the grass,
Yeah,
and then I literally started researching, and I'm just like of course she's right. It's just like, my gosh. And then the more I've done it now, the last 4 or 5 years, it's just like, oh my gosh, it's so incredibly good for you. It literally discharges the
yeah,
negative energy and refills you with God's given energy from the earth. It's
yeah.
just so, God just designed this human body so cool, and the earth is so amazing that, man, if we can just get back to the things that he designed,
Mhm.
my gosh, we could really transform our health. So that's what I'm so passionate about.
Yeah. It gets the gunk out. It's just and you feel better, and it's weird, and I am so resistant to it all the time. But as soon
Yeah,
as I do it, I'm like, okay, why am I resistant to this? It's so easy.
I
Why don't I do
know.
it? Yeah,
It becomes addicting once you start doing it. It's just like, oh yeah, I
it
gotta go.
is
Like
addicting.
literally now, I do the similar thing with the dog. It's like I want to go out and play. I play bubbles with my dog. It's really fun.
Oh, fun.
He's a big old German Shepherd, and
Oh,
it's
fun.
hilarious. Go outside and do bubbles with him every day, and he chases the bubbles and barks at him, all the bubbles, and it's just hilarious. And I do that as my grounding time. I take my
That's
socks and
awesome.
shoes off, it's amazing. So have fun with the dog and
Yeah.
ground at the same time.
Your dog seems much more entertaining than mine. My dog just kind of likes to just sit and exist. So sometimes I'll just go and sit and exist with her, and it's not very eventful.
There you go.
Speaking of getting all the gunk out, before you got into Exodus Strong back in your heyday, I
Yeah.
want I want you to take us back to your running days. I was raised by a runner, and now despise running. I can't do it. I don't like it, and so I like to hear from people who actually love it. You've mentioned you found your passion through running by accident. Like it was just kind of something that kind of stumbled on you, and you absolutely crushed your first 10K that ended you to national championships and even a Division 1 full ride scholarship, which is beyond amazing. Like just that kind of road path in general anybody would want in regards to athletics. And on one day, you were training with a friend, something crazy happened. Can you walk us through the story of that day?
Yeah, that day was amazing because I would, like you mentioned, I was at the pinnacle. I was like
Yeah.
where I'd been training for 10 years to be where I was, and
Hmm.
everything was going well. I just made the U.S. junior team. I was the second best miler in the country, and
Man.
won an international race against 5 other countries, the best
What was your
runners from those
time?
countries, and
Do you
it
remember your
was
time?
yeah, it was a 3:48:1500. So
Holy moly.
about a 4:05 mile is what it
My gosh.
translated to.
Takes
I
me
was
four
so
minutes
excited
just to
because I
get to
was
my car.
yeah, I was right on that cusp, right? I wanted to break that 4-minute mile barrier so bad,
Wow.
and my coaches thought I'd be a 3:48 miler, based upon my
Jeez.
progression. So I was on my way, like I mentioned, and I
Yeah.
was out on a training run in Utah. It was during the winter, and it was we were out on a 10-mile run, and it was crazy weather and snow-covered roads and blowing snow and out in the back country road. My buddy and I were my training partner and I were out running, and he all of a sudden yelled my name, and I turned around, and all of a sudden I just see this 4x4 truck sliding right towards me, and just I had nowhere to go, no time to do anything other than just say I'm gonna get hit, and the 4x4 truck hit me right in the hip, and then threw me 36 feet. So if you think about
Jeez.
36 feet, that's a long way for the human body to be
Oh,
flying through the air.
yeah.
And then I landed just straight on my face. So it knocked me out unconscious.
Uh-huh.
I was in bad shape. I was unconscious on the side of the road, freezing to death. And unfortunately, I had a bloody nose earlier in the run, and it clogged my throat. And
Oh my
so,
gosh.
if it wasn't for my friend being there and knowing the situation I was in and him
You'd still be
unclogging
on the
my
ground.
throat,
Yeah.
yeah, I would not be here today. So,
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it's an absolute miracle. But it's like literally, I've had 5 times in my life where I've almost died. That was probably the most dramatic of
Sure.
the 5. But ever since then, it's like, oh my gosh, God has saved me for some reason, and I keep trying to figure out what it is, and now I believe I'm in my calling. He's got me on this crazy path that if you would have asked me 5 or 6 years ago if I was doing what I'm doing today, I'd say you're absolutely not. No way.
Yeah.
I would never do that. That is not who I am, and now that's all I am. It's
Yeah.
so funny how God works.
He works in mysterious ways. Everybody says
Yes,
that's
he
a
does.
cliche, but it's true. Okay,
It
hold
is.
on. So you went from future track star to hospital in a moment's notice.
Yeah.
You're as you describe it, kind of your first. You describe it a couple ways. You describe it as your first truck hit. You describe a different couple ones in different definitions, but this was
Yeah.
also you described as your first metaphorical death. As thank God you are still here with us, and I get to talk with you today. But
Yes.
there was another death that kind of happened in that moment. What was that for you?
Well, it was just like literally that whole path of my life, right, was like gone. So
Yeah.
in an instant, my whole goals in life were shattered. Right, it was
So
like
running was
boom.
done at that point.
Yeah, you're all of a sudden. I've spent 10 years of my life focused on doing that, and that was my future in my mind. Right at the time, that's who I was. That's what I was going to become. That was who Rob Rene was.
Mhm.
And then all of a sudden,
Oh, it's
boom.
Rob Rene. I totally messed up your name. I'm so
No,
sorry.
it's
Oh,
totally
you
fine.
should have you should have stopped me.
Rene, it's all the same. It spells the same, so it doesn't
Yeah.
doesn't matter. I love it. But yeah, so it was just like, man. After that, I was like, okay, I've got to redefine who I am, and I did that. It was tough for sure, but I just did what the world tells you to do. Unfortunately, I
Mhm.
finished my degree, and then I went out and got a corporate job, and I went into enterprise sales, and I was pretty darn good at that. And I spent
Mhm.
25 years just doing everything for me. It was how can I have a bigger house? How can I have a better gadget? How can I have the biggest TV? How can I have the best car? It was like everything was about me, me, me.
Sure.
And of course, it was for my family, and that's what was my
Mhm.
excuse. Is like
Yeah.
I wanted to do all this to better my family, but it was yeah, it was a selfish period that it took until the second truck hit me. And that one's the metaphorical truck that really shook me to the core and changed my life. Again, right? Was the second truck.
Yeah. I mean, that's such a crazy, wild ride in the grand scheme of things, such a isolated time of your life. Like there was just two very specific instances that taught you such amazing lessons, and I definitely want to get into that as we go along. We have a lot of entrepreneurs and a lot of Christians on this in this community who are
Yeah.
really trying to find those answers of, one, what is my calling, and also how do I fall into it, or how do I find it with what I'm currently doing. I'm even trying to
Right.
answer that for myself. And so a lot of this is going to be like, yeah, people are also going to get helped, but I'm like, I'm a little selfish today. I'm like, I really want to know, this second truck. So you're doing great in your sales. You are providing for your family. You are having the financial success that you want, especially after having this kind of tragic incident happen of a dream kind of crumbling in front of you, as not being able to run as you want to anymore. So you found success somewhere else, and you mentioned that this second truck had hit. This is a two-parter question, because I've had this question in my heart and head for a couple years for myself now. Would love to hear your input. Can you describe the moment where that truck hit, this metaphorical one? Because the second truck didn't hit you this time, but it was it was something hard that hit you anyways.
Yeah.
Describe that moment for us, and then also, do you remember the moment where you were able to look back at that hard moment and recognized, oh, God might be using this experience for more than what I'm actually seeing, than just being rich and wealthy in a Fortune 500 company?
Right, right, and it has. I want to be 100% honest with you. It's been a journey
Yeah,
since that second truck, and I'm still learning every day. But
totally.
my gosh, I'll tell you about the. I could call it the third truck. I've never actually called it that before,
Huh.
but I
We
did
heard it
have
here
a.
first.
Yeah, exactly. You're hearing it here first. I did have a third incident that literally now I look back on my life and I know that God has me on this earth for a reason. There's no reason I should be here from a practical perspective, and so it's like He has continued to save me, and it's like my whole life has transitioned from me trying to better myself financially and better build stuff for me to now it's like 100% shifted where nothing about my financial success or materials of my house, my car, my nothing matters to me other than my relationship with the Lord,
Yeah.
and how I can better His kingdom. Right? It's like that is all I live for. And if you had asked me that even just probably a couple years ago, that wasn't who I was.
Yeah.
And now that it's just so strange to me to see how God has worked in my life and the relationship I did start building. I finally started building a personal relationship with Him after this second truck. So let me hit that second truck real
Yeah,
quick so
go
people
ahead.
understand what I mean by that. So
Yeah.
what the I was in that corporate career and the pandemic hit. The pandemic was my second truck. When the pandemic hit, I lost my sales job because they couldn't travel anymore with the restrictions. And it was the first time in my life I'd had time to look what was going on in the world. And obviously, I was really interested in health from the pandemic perspective. I'm like, how do I keep my family safe?
Right.
And so I would lean back on my running days where what I put in my mouth and what I ate literally becomes you.
Mm-hmm.
And it helped me a lot when I was running to fuel this temple that God gave us in a way that I outperform my competition a lot because of what I actually ate. It wasn't because, of course, I learned how to train well, but did a lot of things. But I also learned how to fuel this
Sure.
incredible machine that He gave us, right? So
Yeah.
I went back and leaned on that during the pandemic. It's like, okay, I need to make sure that we start ingesting the right things and making sure we're avoiding the wrong things, and started doing research. And my gosh, that skill set of research is one I want to anybody and everybody to have, because there's so much bad information out there, and I wasn't aware of that. I literally had blinders on during my corporate career.
Yeah.
I was taking care of my family. I loved sports. I loved gaming. I loved hanging out with my children, but I was a Christian that would go to church on Sunday.
It's kind
And
of
as
stay in
soon
your
as
lane, like just stay where you
yeah,
are.
it was
Don't look
just
anywhere
like, it was
else.
just, don't
Yeah.
bother me with all this external stuff,
Sure.
the news or politics or even religion. It was just like, okay, yeah, I go to church. I loved my church service and it was great while I was there. And then as soon as the door hit me in the butt, I didn't think about church or my faith until next Sunday, right? It was just, I was a Sunday to Sunday Christian, and it took the pandemic to really shake me up as I started doing research on the health industry. It really shook me to my core because I really found out a lot of things about our healthcare system and how our medical system was taken over in the early 1900s, and then how now the healthcare system, at least in the United States, is not there to help you with the root cause of your problems. They're there to mask the problems and keep you sick so that they can make more money. And I don't want to be rude, but I really, that's unfortunately what our healthcare system has turned into. It's really, really good at acute care. If you get hit by a truck or, you have something
Sure.
that,
Yeah.
is really wrong, you need to go get help immediately. And our acute care system is phenomenal, but chronic care is not. And so it doesn't help you with chronic care. And so that's what I was just researching, all this stuff. And this skill set of research is so important for people that I want you to get this skill set, because you need to look at all sides of every story, right? Right now there's a big division in our world about the right and the left, and and then they try to separate us by race and religion and color, and they're trying to separate us so that we will fight, and that's just so wrong, right? God created all of us.
Yeah.
And so we're all human beings, and it doesn't matter what race or color or creed you are, we're all children of God. And so we need to be unified. And so anyway, the point I'm trying to make related to my faith was I started researching the healthcare system a lot, and it really shook me to my core because I realized that I'd been lied to for 50 years of my life. So it really frustrated me. And then I started researching the Bible. I'm like, okay, I've read pieces of the Bible my whole childhood. I was Christian when I was young, and so on and so forth. And I never really read the Bible, so I'm like, is this thing true? And I wasn't sure. And so what I did is I started researching the Bible. Right? I literally did the TAP method. I did the textual criticism of the Bible. Is this accurate?
That's
And
wonderful.
then I
That's
did
awesome.
the prophetic, evidence in the Bible. Okay, all the
Yeah.
prophecies, did they come true? And what prophecies were they? And it was like, oh my gosh. And then you do the archaeology evidence of the Bible, and you combine those three things, and that document is the
It's
most
amazing, isn't it? I'm
incredibly.
getting goosebumps just by you
Oh,
stating all that. I'm like, it's amazing.
it's the most authentic document ever in existence. And so
Yep.
if it is that authentic, then geez, I guess I better read it. you know. so I've read it multiple times now. I've listened to it multiple times, and I study it every day. And it's to become, I really developed a personal relationship with God during that period. So that has transitioned my entire life. As like, okay, wow. I was really living a selfish life for a really long time, and I wasn't living for him. And so he's been changing. That's why I mentioned the journey, like you mentioned, is like, okay, was it something that you look back on and it was like immediately you say, okay, that everything's changed? And it wasn't. It took that second
Mhm.
truck for me to start evolving into the person I am today. And I'm still evolving, but oh my gosh, it's amazing to me the difference in who I am and what I care about is like,
Yeah.
because he set me on this health journey. He's like, okay, Rob, you're no longer going to be a runner. Obviously, that was the first one. Then he's like, you're no longer going to be in the enterprise software sales world anymore. I want you to learn about health. So I started learning about health, and I started doing all this research about it. It was like, oh my gosh. And one of the first things he taught me about was frequency medicine. I was like, frequency medicine. Like frequencies are weird to me.
Right. Yeah.
What's a frequency, right? And when this gentleman he introduced me to, I say he because the Lord like this has been so cool, and the people that I've ended up getting directed to. This one guy, I call him the mad scientist. He's like, guy's been, doing research on these frequency solutions for 30 years. And he told when he first introduced me to this product, it has a skin patch that you put on your body, and he said it has frequencies and it's going to help you with some health issues that you have. I'm like, and it was like with discomfort, and so I was like, no, come on, give me. I said, there's medicine in it, and it goes into the body. He's like, no, there's no medicine. And I was like, give me a break, right? It's like there's no way that this little sticker is going to help me do anything. So, but what I did is I started doing that research again. I said, okay, let me go prove this guy that he's nuts. So I went and researched the human body. All right, the human body is made up of energy, and even down to our cells. Our cells communicate with each other via vibration, which give off, guess what? A frequency.
Frequency, right.
And so I started learning outside. I was like, what's a frequency? Because I didn't know what a frequency was, really. I'd heard the term. I really didn't know what it was. And then I learned that frequencies are everywhere. Your cell phone's a frequency. Your radio you listen to, you change the dial, it changes, guess what? The frequency, right? So it's like all these things became, okay, so frequencies aren't weird like I thought they were. They're everywhere. And then I learned that the human body is made up of energy and it interacts both positively and negatively to frequencies. So then I'm like, okay, maybe this guy's not as nuts as I thought he was. So I started digging into his product, right? And it's like really cool. It puts these little microscopic crystalline structures on these patches, and they can hold information. And he puts a frequency on them and and Bible verses. Literally encodes 40 Bible verses on these little patches. It's not that you can read them, but the little ones and zeros, like a computer hard drive, can hold information. These little patches hold that information. Then you apply it to your body, and it connects to the energy system in your body, and then helps with certain health issues. I was like, wow, that's fascinating. And I didn't believe it at all. And then I started trying it with the community that my brother had, and we started sharing the product with his community, and people loved it. They're like, oh my gosh, one woman came to us at a conference we were at. She'd had a shoulder injury for decades and literally couldn't lift up her arm. She used the patch for an hour, came back to us and was just smiling ear to ear, lifted up her arm. And I was like, what? And she's like, I haven't been able to do that for 10 years. I'm like, you're kidding me. She's like, no, this is the most incredible thing. Then she came back the next day and said that she'd slept better than she ever has, at least in the last number of years, because she was in pain. And the patch actually helped her sleep through the night. So she was ecstatic. She's like, this is the coolest thing. So that was fun because I learned a lot about frequencies during that period. And the Lord has taught me about what I call the light code. I've created a system called the light code based upon the 4 pillars of health that he's trained me on. So light is the first one. Frequencies that we just talked about is the second one. And then fuel is an important one that we'll talk about because the fuel is so important to what we put into our body and how it transforms from the inside out. And then faith is the fourth one. So light, frequencies, fuel, and faith is what I call the light code. And you combine all 3 or all 4 of those together, and it's not 1 + 1 + 1 + 1 = 4. It's like 1 times 1, 1 times 5 times 5 times 5. It ends up being the health, if you combine them, is astronomical of how it's going to help your body. So anyway, that's why I'm so passionate, because that's what he's taught me about. I want to teach you about light therapy, how incredible the sun is, and that's literally the thing that woke me up about the healthcare system was the sun and vitamin D, which is a crazy story. So it's like when I was early on looking at the pandemic, right? I was like starting to research the healthcare industry. The light story is really incredible, right? I was reading the Bible for the first time, right? Read Genesis, like the God created light. It was like the first things that He created, and it was like, wow, that's really cool. I was learning all the things about frequencies, and then all of a sudden I'm researching the healthcare industry, and I was like, well, let's get some good nutrients in the body. So I'm like, what supplements should I take? So I was doing research on that, and I saw this one doctor was recommending vitamin D, and I'm like, well, vitamin D, that's like from the sun, right? And so I was researching vitamin D, and he was recommending that, and then I found out that he was getting sued for billions, like with a B, dollars, because he was recommending vitamin D to people, and I was like, wow, maybe vitamin D is really bad, right? So I
Interesting.
started doing research on vitamin D. Couldn't find anything wrong with vitamin D. It's like that's natural from the sun, and it's like we have to have that. Without the sun, we don't have oxygen,
I don't have
right?
life.
It's like
Yeah.
yeah, we don't have life. So I was just like, I don't understand. But it's like, what's the motivation? Oh, so the second thing I thought is maybe he's just a bad dude, right? Maybe he's a bad
Yeah.
doctor. He's really doing nefarious things. That's why they're suing him for so much. And I did research on him, and I couldn't find anything bad. He was like a really all natural health practitioner, helping people with things from God's earth to help them. I'm like, okay, I don't see why that would be bad. And then I'm like, well, why would they be suing him for billions of dollars? And that's what started my whole research about the healthcare system, and their motivation to sue him wasn't because of anything other than they wanted to shut him up. And it was really sad. I was just like, holy smokes, they're vilifying this doctor like crazy,
Yeah.
and they don't want him talking about a natural way to get help. And that really frustrated me, and that started me down this whole research hole. But it's kind of fun to me now if I look back on it, how God trained me. He's like, okay, I want to teach you about light, I want to teach you about frequencies, and I want to teach you about fuel. We'll talk about fuel in a minute, and then obviously faith is the fourth pillar. Without faith, that kind of underlies everything, then none of it fits together. But it's been a fascinating journey.
It really has been, just listening to the just sequences of your life, just watching, now that we have a full picture, watching it build and evolve
Yeah,
on top of it, just on top of each other, each phase of your life that's kind of occurred, that's led you to helping others find their health and their faith, bringing the two together to lead a great life. And that's such an amazing journey to have, of your desires being so strong, which we can tell. Like, you're very passionate, and that's a beautiful thing. There's not many people that are just so passionate they're wanting to risk getting sued. Like,
right,
there's not many
right,
people
right.
who are willing to kind of ruffle feathers like that. And
Well, it's so yeah, it's really. I mean, it's sad in this world about in the healthcare world. It's like literally,
yeah,
I
especially.
could say the wrong word on this, and they could use that word, and they could come after me and put me in jail. It's like
Yeah.
it's so bizarre to me. It's like really, it's like what? I'm just trying to help people, right? And so I have to walk a really fine line, and I literally
Sure.
built this AI system. I love technology, so I've built this AI system to help me with all my content, because I call it the Levite is my
Oh, cool.
agent that actually reviews all of my content before I distribute it, because the Levite has to tell me whether it's compliant or not, because it's like I can't put it
Sure.
out if it's not compliant. And my gosh, it's just I get so mad a lot of times.
Yeah,
I
mad
get
that you
like,
have to
"Come
do it.
on,
If it's,
I want
yeah,
to, I want to, I want to talk about that." And the Levite's
right.
like,
It's
"No,
like, no, don't.
you can't touch that." I'm like, "That's
Yeah,
stupid."
I
I'm
hear that.
just trying to help people, right? But it's like, what do you do?
Well,
So
speaking
anyway,
on
that's
speaking on the kind of the message that you're spreading, especially
yeah,
in a Christian space, the idea of, and we talked a little bit about this when we first met, but the idea of crystals and frequency and light therapy
yeah,
it clashes so much with Christian culture, particularly because it's that type of healthcare, or holistic healthcare, is not associated with Christian means. And
right,
so having these kind of two worlds come together, even though it's scientifically backed, even though you have scriptures public that are just proving like, hey, this is what we're doing. Like, we're not trying to cheat you out of anything. Like, no, this is it. Even though kind of the proof has been made and the proof is there, even in my own heart, because this is so new to me, there's a little bit of resistance still, even
Yeah.
after having reviewed and just looked at what you've researched. That hesitancy is still there. And what I'm
Yeah.
curious about from you, Rob, is what would you tell that Christian that is hesitant, that is maybe even combative, of like, well, no, this is wrong, and we have to do it a different way and whatnot. And what would you say to that person to kind of help them expose themselves to a different idea, such
Yeah, I
as
think it's
the medical world that you're opening up?
right, right. Yeah, I literally bring it down to what God created, right? God created us.
Mm-hmm.
He created everything on this planet, and He breathed life into us. And what He did create was this temple of ours. And I like to make sure people understand this is like, you have how many of those? You have one temple, right? You don't
Mm-hmm.
have another one. You don't have another chance at another temple. It's like, this is the temple that He's given you. And He's designed this body so incredibly cool that it works in amazing ways. And people and scientists are still trying to figure out how our body works. It's like, how many
Yeah.
years of scientists been studying the human body, and we still can't figure it out. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, a lot of things we know, which is amazing. There's lots of advancements, and I think that's really important to understand those. But what is amazing is that God created this body so cool, right? Like I was mentioning about the research about the body's made up of energy. Like, holy smokes, I didn't know that, right? Would
Right.
you? I mean, I would assume if I asked you that without any pretext, you would say, body's not made up of energy. It's made up of skin. But
Right.
you literally do the research. It's like, oh my gosh, it is made up of energy. And then you start understanding those basics, and then you look at how He created everything in the world. He created, the periodic table. Hydrogen, for example.
Mm-hmm.
Hydrogen is one of the big things that's part of my fuel pillar, because of the amazing health effects that molecular hydrogen has in the body. But I talk about hydrogen because, like, my gosh, that's the smallest element that God created,
Yeah.
and that He created that, right? And you look at even Revelations, what 22:2 is like. He put the leaves of the plant of the tree of life is for our healing,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so you have to go back and look at the Bible, because there's so many awesome herbs and superfoods in the Bible that He has put on this planet for us. And so we consume them right. We can literally help the body the way that He designed it. Unfortunately, we've really done a bad job of taking care of the way He designed it. But
Sure.
to get more to your question on like the energy thing, or I think the devil's done a great job of taking something really wholesome,
Sure.
and modified it.
Yeah.
And so He's taking holistic health and tried to bastardize it, I guess is a good word to say.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah.
That is changed it to where it is bad, and people think it's bad because they think frequency medicine is bad, or they think worshiping a crystal is bad. But the fact that a crystal that God made the crystal, right? Nobody made the crystal. God made the crystal. And if that crystal can hold information, that's not anybody else. That's God, right? And so God made the frequency. God made the crystal. Can that crystal hold information? Yes, it can, right? And so these little microscopic crystalline structures they're not crystals, but they're similar concept. Those little things can hold information. So that's not nefarious. That's not woo woo. That's not negative science. That's God
Mm-hmm.
science. And so the problem is people just don't equate that to God, because
Sure.
but God is so amazing that He created frequencies. They're not
Yeah.
strange. They're not weird. They're not created by the devil. That's just things that God created, and we're just starting to learn about them. So just because we're starting to learn about them doesn't make them evil.
Right.
So I think that's important, for people to understand. And so I look at it as like, hey, God created everything on this earth, and yes, there is an evil part of the world who's taking a lot of these good things and changed them, and they are bad, right? And you should never worship anything that's not God, right?
Right.
And so Um, you shouldn't worship the things that other religions talk about. And even people in the woo woo world, they will worship a rock, or they'll worship a crystal, or they'll worship an item, and that's not what we're supposed to do, right? We're supposed to worship God, not those specific things. And so that's how I try to answer it. Is, my gosh, you just
Yeah.
need to realize that God created it all, and that doesn't mean everything's bad. It doesn't mean everything's good either, because some of that's
Sure.
been modified and changed, and so you need to understand that. So I don't know if I answered your question, but
I
that's how
think
I
you
try
did.
to
Yeah, and
present.
it's the information problem, at least from
Yeah.
my point of view, because, like you said, there is so much information out there that is purposed for something that it shouldn't be, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. Like
Yeah. No, that's a
it's
great way to
yeah,
say it.
it's
Great way to
taken
say it.
something that God, it's you actually you said it very well. It's taking something that God created and it's using it for other means. And
Right.
which happens everywhere, even, I mean, way
It
outside the
does.
medical field, but specifically, I mean, here we can see that happening as well, of medication, the things that God made. Like we're not taking elements that have never existed. We're bringing
Right.
things together that God's made, and it's being used for money. It's being used for personal gain rather than healing, right?
Right.
Which is such a heartbreaking thing for me, and I'm sure you felt that too. So my best friend is a paramedic. I know nurses, I know doctors, like I know people who want so desperately to take care of people, chiropractors
Yes.
too, who want to so bad help people, but the system that they have to work in is against them. And it's the
Yeah.
worst thing
Yeah.
ever. Yeah, like
It's
just
so
hearing,
frustrating. Yeah.
yeah, just hearing what my best friend has to go through. He works at a private firefighting company here in Utah, and just got promoted to a paramedic. Congratulations, Logan.
Awesome. Nice.
And he's out doing his thing, and he's really good at what he does, and he loves it. And he's like, I have to fight a system to save people. Is how he would
Isn't that
communicate
sad?
it. And it's
Yeah.
so sad. Like
It, it, it,
it's a reason I was going to go into nursing. Fun fact: when I was in college, that's where I was headed, and that was one of the things that caused me to drop out, is knowing a little bit of just how hard it was to work inside of such a corrupt system.
yeah.
Yeah, it's wild out there. But speaking on top of this whole journey that you've had kind of struggle and then victory and then struggle and then growth and then struggle and then victory, just kind of just overlapping each other. Um, Much like you and I, living the Christian life, trying to serve God as best you can with your life is not an easy thing. And
No.
I'm pretty sure anybody who's listening can, Christian or non-Christian, can probably attest to that.
Right. Right.
It is promised in the Bible we will have trouble, and you are living proof that you can overcome those things, which is awesome. But there's a lot of Christians out there, and even church leaders, who quietly struggle, specifically with addictions. And I wanted to tap on this because you have quite an incredible journey with addiction as well and overcoming it.
Yep.
And there's a lot of people who struggle in the dark, who are silent and who
Yeah.
are quiet for whatever reasons that they have. Yeah,
Yeah.
me being another one of those. This could be alcohol, pornography, prescription meds, or just dopamine in general, wanting to seek approval, any of those things, really. What would you say to that person who's really struggling, who knows they need help, but may not have the courage, support, or the mental means to actually kind of get the help that they need? Where would you start with them?
Yeah, it took me a long time to get there, but it did. But my one of my vices was alcohol, right? So I grew up in the corporate world where I was entertaining clients all the time, and it was I'd take clients out to dinner. My
Sure.
work paid for me to do that, right? And
Yeah.
so I always did that. And like, not only did I take them out to a really nice dinner where there's always drinks at dinner, but then they wanted us to take them out to the bar after,
Sure.
to develop those personal relationships with people. And so it just became very common that I did, and I loved sports, and so always on the weekend it was like there's always a game, and it was 5 o'clock somewhere, right? Became
Yeah. Yeah.
that I lived that. Literally drank for 20 plus years, probably every single day.
Mm.
And it became a habit. And I was a highly functional alcoholic because I was, kept my jobs, and
Yeah.
was selling really well, and I was moving up the ladder, but I was still poisoning my body every single day. And it got really to the point where I was losing my mental capacity. I was getting brain fog, and I was just not thinking well, and I didn't
Sure.
feel well physically. I wasn't taking care of my body, and it took me to the point where it's just like, I was in my early 50s. It was like, is this going to be the rest of my life like this?
Mm.
And am I doing this to myself? And it took me a long time. My wife wanted me to stop drinking for, decade probably or more. Uh, and it took me to the point where it's just like, I literally did one. I remember at night, one night I was laying in bed, just not feeling well, and just said, I think I'm done drinking. My wife about fell out of the bed. She's like, "Are you kidding me? Right? You're telling me that after 20 years of drinking every single day?" I don't think she believed me, but I just literally got to the point where I was like, I don't feel well, and I know that's not good for me. And so I started doing research on it. It was like, am I an alcoholic? I'm not sure. It was
Hmm.
like, because I don't have to get up at 8 o'clock in the morning and drink myself to death.
Sure.
It was, so I wasn't sure. So I just started doing research. Like the definition of what I did was an alcoholic. So I said, okay, gosh, I don't want to be termed an alcoholic, but I guess I am. But then I started digging in. I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't just stop drinking wholeheartedly, because when your body's addicted to it and used to it, you can literally kill yourself. So I thought, well, that sucks, right? I can't just like stop. And so I went to the doctor that next day and said, hey, I'm going to stop drinking, and but I need help to do that, because it's not good for me. Went to a great doctor, and he's like,
Mm.
yeah, you're right. He says, but I can give you this medication that you just take for a week or two, and it will help you get through that withdrawal
The withdrawal. Yeah.
symptom
Yeah.
potential problem that you may have. But it was, to me, it was two things. One, it was an incredibly supportive wife that helped me. She was amazing, but it's also my relationship with God. That literally, without Him, I couldn't have done it. But I was so stubborn. I didn't want to do a 12-step program. I didn't want to go be part of it. Sometimes some people need that, right? They
Yeah.
need the structure and the program around it and the accountability around it
Sure.
to make that change.
Totally.
Um, so I'm okay with people that want to do a program. Go do it, right? Just do whatever you need to do. For me, it was getting on my knees and praying to God, saying, I
Mm.
need help. I need help, and I need you. And the only way I'm gonna only way I'm gonna do this is with your help. And yeah, so that's how I did it. I said, okay, God,
Wow.
I'm done. And he was so amazing. He literally took the desire for that away from me, which is really weird thing
It's
to
incredible.
have, because I literally don't have a desire to drink anymore. Like it was really hard socially for a while because
Sure.
everybody drinks, and I was around circles where everybody drank, and so I would have my club soda in line, and so it looked like I had a drink in my hand. I still was me. I still acted like me, and still was me, but I just wasn't drunk.
Mm.
And so, but I do want to encourage people that you can do it.
Mm.
God will give you the strength if you just ask for it. You get on your knees and you pray, and God will give you the strength. And He literally took away that desire from me, which is I've never thought I would not have the desire to drink. I actually enjoyed the taste of you know tequila and other fine tequila and stuff like that. It was like it was great. I enjoyed it, but now it's like, no, I don't want to touch it. It's just like I'd have no desire for it. It's like only God can do that, in
Yeah.
my opinion. My simple brain can't
Sure.
do that. But He did. He took away that desire from me, and it's just like, wow. And I'm so grateful that I did that, because my entire brain fog went away. My clarity came back, and I was able to literally start running with my wife again. I was like, when I first started
Wow.
my journey back to health, I couldn't even run a quarter of a mile. We used to run together. My wife and I did. I got her into running, and she ran marathons. She was amazing.
No way.
And I had gotten really out of shape, so I couldn't even run a quarter of a mile. So we'd go out, and I just said, okay, I'm gonna stop drinking. And I'm gonna start exercise again. So I would just walk. I'd walk, and then I finally started walking and jogging a little bit, and then walking and jogging a little bit further, and then walking. Just did that consistently, and now, I can go out and run 4, 5, 6 miles and be comfortable and confident. But just to summarize, going back to if I was talking to somebody who is struggling right now with it, I understand, right? I was there for many, many years. But God is so good that He will take care of you if you ask, and then you commit and you just say, okay, Lord, I'm going to do this. I'm going to need your help every step of the way. And it is one of those things that you literally need to ask every morning, right? Lord, I need your help today. Help me get through the day today. And what do you want me to do? And you just you get on get the Bible open and start reading it. And He's going to talk to you when you're reading. It's a living Word of God, right? So as you read that Bible, He's going to be communicating to you if you have the Holy Spirit within you. So it's just, that's what I would do. Is just know that you can do it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. So just to give you some encouragement, man. And if you woke up today and you have breath in your lungs, right? God put that breath in your lungs. So He has a plan for your life today. So because you're here and He has a plan for your life. So think about that. It's like you're on this planet for a reason.
Yeah.
So if you're on this planet for a reason, then you've got a job to do. And so the cool thing is that gives you hope. It's like, gosh, He does have a plan for my life. I do have hope. I can get better. I can overcome these struggles. There's lots of other people who've overcome way bigger struggles than I ever have. But at the same point, I want to give people encouragement that, man, if I can do it, you can do it too. And just do it, and you get on your hands and knees and pray to the Lord and open the Bible and ask for your wife's help, or maybe your friend's help, or your pastor's help, or just reach out for somebody that be your accountability partner. But I use God as my accountability partner. My wife obviously was there as well. She was super helpful, but that's I literally just used Him. It's like, Lord, I can't do this on my own. I need you. And so I will encourage anybody to get through that.
I'm overflowed with gratitude just hearing how you've been able to release an old habit that was poisoning you, as you've said, and you dared to ask, I wonder what it's like on the other side. And God blessed you with being able to just remove the temptation. I've experienced that once or twice. I think once mainly I remember, but I think the benefits of growing up in a Christian household and learning the concepts, learning the Bible from an early age, is you are more likely to not be as risky once adulthood hits and you wanting to spread your wings, you wanted to go experience all the things your parents never let you do and all the things that kids that grow up in church do. And for one of those things for me was alcohol. I had 2 or 3 experiences with it, and I'm like, no, it's just not like it wasn't even something I had to ask for, thankfully. But I think God just kind of put there. It was just like, I don't need it. I've seen what it does, and I don't need to learn it. Like I don't. And I'm not saying that as pride or as I'm better than anybody or I'm better than you. It's no, we get to live out this same journey together with whatever it is.
Because we're all fallen, right?
We're all fallen. Yeah.
We're all sinners. Yeah.
Yeah. And being able to open up your Bible, get on your knees, bring somebody in, like this is like the 3 most essential things like in just all of life, is so powerful. Yet we can forget to put those 3 things into practice. Like myself, right. I'll want to rely on my own strength. I'm like, ooh, I'm not looking the best. I'm not doing my best. So I'm going to isolate and not let anybody see it because I don't like how it looks, or I can't have them know because like it's, all of the, what's the word, all of the excuses get in your head like, well, and you kind of start deterring yourself, and that's when we can drift away from the small and narrow path, as the Bible says. Thank you for sharing that with us. That
You're
was
welcome.
valuable.
I hope it helped one person, right?
It helped me, so we've achieved that goal.
Good. Amen.
Yeah.
Amen. Amen. I
Um,
love it. This shirt of mine is rock kazak, right? It's like be strong and courageous. That's what it means in Hebrew, and so it's like literally everybody can be strong.
Sounds like a
and
chant you
courageous,
would say
right?
before battle.
Yes, it's like, so it's such an amazing term, and you can wear that on your chest, and you can be strong and courageous. God put that in you, right? So it's just I'm so excited to help people. It's like that's why He has me on this earth. I believe is and it's like, if I look back on my life, I can see how He trained me all along the way. Right, everything He did was for a purpose, and He does, as Romans 8:28 tells us, right? He literally does everything for our good for those who know Him. And it's like, wow, I didn't really understand that, nor did I really believe it, but I do now. And I just look back on my life. I'm like, okay, good Lord, I get it. Help me help someone today. And what can I do to help them? And that's what I do with my company, Exodus Strong. Is literally the light code system I developed I'm writing a book. It's in publication now. I'm super excited that it should be out in the next little while. So I think that is a contribution of mine. It's like people who will read that are going to understand my story and how I got to there. But then why did I learn about those things, and then how are those things helpful for you, and give you free resources on how to do those? Because like what you said, I love to tell people about. There's 7 things you can do for your health that are absolutely free.
You read my mind. That's exactly what I wanted you to talk about next, because 7 steps.
So do those, right?
Yeah. Tell us what they are.
If you do these 7 things, your life is going to start transforming from a health perspective, and you didn't cost you a flipping dime, right? So if you just start, maybe you don't have to do all 7 of them. Maybe do a couple today, then do a couple more tomorrow. But they're really simple. The first one is hydration. Right? Most of us just don't drink enough water. And so I'm about 200 pounds. I'm not quite that anymore, but I need about 100 ounces of water in a day. So just do the math and start getting enough hydration throughout your day. That's going to really help. We're made about 60 to 70% water of our bodies are. So it needs it to move. And our cells need water in them for them to flow correctly. So that's really, really important. Then the next 3, I always do outside. So like we talked about with the dog, I go outside and I take my socks and shoes off. I ground, but then I get that beautiful sun, right? The sunlight, and especially the first 45 minutes of the day, it's called blue light. And there's no infrared light rays on them. It's just beautiful for your body. We were designed to be outside, and unfortunately, most of us are inside with these fluorescent lights hitting us all day long. And so we don't get that natural vitamin D that God created. So light is super important. That's why we sell those red light therapy mats, because you get near infrared light and red light into your body where you don't have to go outside. But back to the 7 things, you ground outside and you get sunlight, and then you do these breathing techniques. And it's like, okay, you have to breathe, right, to live. But I didn't realize that if you do breathing techniques in a specific way, it gives you a ton of oxygen. And then scientifically proven that it can add 7 years to your life if you just do these breathing techniques once a day. So it's like, well, duh, why would you not do that, right?
Yeah,
It's like, but most of us don't know that and don't understand it. So you can go just do a quick Google search on Wim Hof, WIMHOFF. He's got these breathing techniques. It just takes you 7 minutes, and you do deep breathing, you hold, and then you exhale, and you hold, and you do this specific pattern for a short period of time, and you get inundated with oxygen, and just your body starts feeling great. So there's the four things, right? Are hydration, grounding, get some sun on the body, and you do the breathing techniques. So those are four. And the fifth one is you got to move, right? We do have to get up and walk, right? We need to get movement going through our bodies. It's super duper important. And I always start off before the first one. So it's basically zero, if you want to count it, is gratitude. I start off my day with my routine, and my routine is gratitude and prayer and reading the Bible, right? But I don't consider those like necessarily help. But the gratitude is very, very important to your health, because your mind is really, really powerful. So that gratitude step is very important. And then you need to get the right nutrients in the body. And so most people, you need 96 nutrients, your body does every day. And most of us are not getting 96 nutrients in our body every day. So it's just almost impossible with the food supply that we have. So you need to supplement it with something. And so it's really important for you to look at that. I actually put Celtic salt in some of the water I drink in the morning, because the Celtic salt is very, very good. It has lots of nutrients in it, and that's one way you can get a portion of the nutrients that you need, is just by adding some good salt water into it. So those are the six, and then there's a number of other things you can add as a seventh, but just sleep is another really, really important one. Is you need to wind down and get rid of the blue lights for a couple of hours before you go to bed. And have a routine, and then get that 7 to 8 hours of sleep that your body needs. And man, that's where you recover. If you don't know that's literally where God designed this body for us to rest. And then when we are resting, that's when our body is healing, is when you're resting. So it's super, super important. And all those things, everybody knows about all of those things, but you don't ever think about them from oh geez, maybe I should actually do these in a programmatic way. So if you do these in a programmatic way, then you're going to get excited, because then you start feeling better. And like I told you earlier on, is when I don't think I ever finished the fuel pillar of my story. So those are the 7 things. Let me do the fuel pillar of the story, because it is important, because it's the Exodus supplement we created. And the reason why is because the nutrients I was talking about. Right, we created this supplement to have 7 biblical herbs in it that are really amazing, and then that molecular hydrogen blend. But the herbs in it are barley grass and wheatgrass. Those give you the nutrients that most people are missing in the day. And then it has saffron in it, which is really, really good for mood and anxiety or anxiousness. And then it has aloe. Aloe is really good for gut health. And it's got cumin, frankincense, and myrrh, and those help with the inflammation response. So I have a podcast. I interview holistic holistic practitioners all the time, and they all mention that inflammation is the source of all disease. So if you can reduce inflammation in the body, then it's going to help you, not get some issues. Totally. And then you look at that molecular hydrogen component of our product, and you look at the research and what molecular hydrogen does to the body, and it's just absolutely awesome. It's like it gets rid of the sentient cells, or the zombie cells in your bloodstream, and extracts them, but then helps the good mitochondria, the ones that are supposed to be there, it helps it be more efficient. So you're getting best of both. It's getting rid of the bad stuff and helping the good work better. So that's why I created the fuel pillar, is get people the nutrients they need, because we just typically aren't getting them during our day. So there you go. That's the light code system in whole, and those are the 7 free tips that you can use to help you with your health.
Yeah, I would love, I don't know if you ever thought of this. This is now my business brain side of me to kind of come alive, but doing like a community challenge almost, of like, yeah, you don't believe me? Like, I dare you. Like, I dare you, and see what happens. And like, whoever has the best results, gets something or whatnot. But like, I want to try that for myself now. And it's a little thing about me. I love whiteboards. I have 4 whiteboards all along my office. I got 2 on this wall, and 2 behind me. And I have one dedicated to how I should run my day. Like, I have like my essential non-work related things that I'll have in my day. A lot of those things I'll do, it's meditation, reading my Bible, prayer,
Awesome.
And like there's like some like hydration. I have to hit at least 120 ounces of water in a day. I'm a little heavier than you. I'm
Good job.
285. I should
There
be
you
at like
go.
150, 160, but that's a lot. That's a lot of peeing, and I don't like
Yeah,
peeing that
yeah.
much in a day. And so I have all of those things, but I think maybe 2 or 3 of those things in these 7 steps are actually on that whiteboard in a semi-consistent basis. And
Good.
I think
Good.
just
Good.
making that
Yep.
small shift, because you think about it, it's not that it's a habitual change, and that's where it gets tough because you're building new habits, but they're
That's
not
right.
hard. Like they're not.
They're not.
You don't need
They're
to get a
not
degree
hard.
for this.
Yeah.
You don't need to pay somebody a bunch of money to get vitamin D. Walk
That's
outside.
right.
Like you
That's right.
there's things that you can. It just takes effort.
Yeah.
And I'm really excited now to go try these 7 steps. I'll have to tell you what happens in a few weeks. So
Yeah, I'm
after it happens
excited.
of
I'm
like,
excited. Literally, as part of my book, the Light Code is one of the chapters is a 40-day challenge of
okay,
the
cool.
book, and because I literally want to get people to try that for 40. You try it for 40 days, right? The 40 days was picked specifically because of all the amazing things in the Bible that
That
they
happens with
talk
the
about
number 40.
40
Yeah.
days is so important biblically
Mm-hmm.
that I'm like, hey, I can't do a 30-day challenge. It's like let's make a 40-day
Make it
challenge
40.
and make
It
it
just makes sense.
biblical and it's yeah, the transformation is pretty
Mm.
phenomenal. So I'm excited for people to get the book and to try that 40-day challenge because it's going to be transformational. So yeah, I
Oh,
love your mind is similar to mine. So it's like
yeah.
how can I really help people? And man, if people go through
Yeah.
that, they're gonna be so excited. They're like, wow,
Yeah.
this is amazing. I feel so much better today.
That's so
So
awesome.
that's what I want to. I really have a heart because for people because it's like if you're sick, which there are a lot of people that just do not feel well. When I was doing research for my podcast, it's like 50% of our seniors have chronic pain, and it's like that sucks, right? They shouldn't be have chronic pain, and so my goal is to just get people to start living well and do those 7 things, and maybe they're using some of my light code system and then I want to get them well enough to where they can get off of the couch, right? And they can
Hmm.
go talk to their neighbor. They can go make a difference in this world if you're not Netflixing and chilling on your couch, doing
Sure.
nothing,
Yeah.
right? Get out there and make a difference in the world and let's
Yeah.
do this together. And if you're sick, you don't feel like helping the world. You don't feel like even talking to your neighbors. So let's get you well, let's get you healthy, and let's go make a difference in the world together.
Yeah. Man, what a mission. Um, One concept we talk about on the podcast is that worship is an act of gratitude and thanksgiving for what
Yes.
God has already done in our lives and for the world. Now, you and I have both, and now we've just talked about gratitude as the thing that can flip negative energy into positive, which is the reason why it's such a good way to start your morning. It's the very first
Yes.
thing you do just to kind of get your day off starting the right way. And First Thessalonians chapter 5, verses 16 through 18 talk about rejoicing always and giving thanks to everything, just as kind of what you were mentioning.
Yeah.
How would somebody begin to build that habit of gratitude based on what you know?
Yeah, in my opinion, it's not hard because literally you get up and you think, okay, I have breath in my lungs. It's like, th-
So kind of
who
get
do
to
you
the bare
thank for
bones.
that?
Like you don't need to think very
Yeah,
hard. Just
like
think just the simplest things
it,
possible.
this is simple. It's like I'm breathing today. Thank you,
Hmm.
Lord.
Yeah.
It's like wow. It's like I have an opportunity to do something today, right? And so just you start off with just boom, but I'm breathing today. Thank you, Lord. And then you start thinking, geez, what am I thankful for? Right? Am I thankful for I actually have a bed to sleep in? You know, and that a lot of people don't. Right, and am I thankful for the sheets that I had over me last night? You can be so simple, and it's okay to be simple. It just get that in your mind, and then you start. If you just do 5 things, like what are the 5 things that you're thankful for today? And maybe it's just super duper silly and simple. Like, hey, I have breath, and I had a sheet over my head, and I have a bed, and I actually have a bathroom I can go to the restroom in, and I thank you that I have running water that I can drink. That you just start there, right? That's good, right? At least you started off with that gratitude, and then all of a sudden you start looking at things as like the glass half full, right? Instead of glass half empty. you're already in the mindset of things are good, and he does everything for our good. And it's like, wow, you get that mindset shift, and it really transform your day. And then you start looking at wow, there were a lot of really good things that happened today. It's just I all of a sudden am transitioning my brain from because we get such an inundation of negative things in our world. You know, you doom scroll through your phone, which everybody does, including myself, right? But you can do such a great job of just shutting off of some of those things, and then realizing how lucky we really are. So that's what I would do, is like just literally start simple. Say, hey, what are 5 things that you could do today, and have them be as dumb as I got shoes I can put on my feet, or whatever it is, right? Those aren't
Or a cat who will
dumb
interrupt you mid
God's eyes.
podcast.
Yeah, I love it. That's a beautiful cat. What's your cat's name?
Her name is Nyla.
Nyla. Love it.
She's. I mean, people know me at this point, but I'm a huge nerd, and she's named after one of the characters of a TV show that my family and I adore. And
Very
so
good.
We do fictional character names in this house.
There you go. I like it. I like it.
Well, awesome, Rob. I have one final question for you after such an incredible journey that we just got to witness. Just hearing your story and how you've given your life to God and then let God use your life for great things. Rob, in 5 words, tell me this. What makes you smile?
God, my beautiful wife, breath in my lungs.
Breath in your lungs. We'll hyphenate it. There we go.
Here you go. Exactly. Breath and lungs. How's that?
Rob, thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us today. You have endured physical, emotional, and spiritual pain and hardship, and you dared to turn it into a mission to lead others to Christ and live a healthier life. Thank you on behalf of everybody who listens for choosing that path. Thank you for sharing our story, or for sharing your story with us and enriching our lives. You can find Rob on his podcast, Biohackingville, on YouTube. And if you want to level up your health through biblically and scientifically based treatments, check out ExodusStrong.com for 30% off all bundles. Rob, thank you for joining us today.
Yeah. God bless you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
Thank you.